Marjorie Taylor Greene, I already told you, was upset with Trump, not just for the Epstein stuff, but for Ukraine. Trump is indicating, he's given a deadline, it was 50 days ago, a few days ago. Who knows if he'll stick to it. He's really going to put the pressure on Russia with economic measures and support Ukraine with military support and aid and getting Europe to do more. It's tough to believe Trump when he gives any deadline, as I've continued to say. But if he follows through on it, that would be good. But Marjorie's not happy because she thought that they were just going to do isolationism completely, even from just aid that is really, advantageous to us geopolitically. And so she's speaking out against Trump on that. I want to show you a little MAGA infighting, which is that then Ben Shapiro came out and pretty aggressively spoke out against Marjorie for this correctly. So first, here's Marjorie.
Many people voted for President Trump for the campaign promise of no more foreign wars and the United States getting out of involvement and funding. As a matter of fact, everyone should recall the Trump rally in Pickens, South Carolina. I went on the stage just before Lindsey Graham, and I said, no more funding, no more weapons to Ukraine. And the crowd cheered and cheered and cheered. And then following my speech, Lindsey Graham took the stage in his own hometown, in his own home county, in Pickens, South Carolina, and was booed for 6 minutes straight during his speech because he's been the number one supporter of U.S. involvement.
I said this last time, but it is one thing to just voice your opposition to aid to Ukraine. But it is a whole nother thing that I will not stand for you to blame Ukraine for the hatred of Lindsey Graham. That is insane scapegoating of Ukraine. Lindsey works hard. He works hard for the hate that he gets. He puts in overtime, making sure everyone, even his own party, hates him. And you're going to give Ukraine credit for that? That's ridiculous. He worked for that. While we continue through this, please do click the subscribe button if you appreciate the show. And I should grab this. I was just sipping on Pep. If you go to drinkpep.com, this is a company I started with my brothers to give us a healthy alternative to energy drinks, give you that boost without the guilt. Natural ingredients, active probiotics. Give your gut microbiome the love that it deserves. Drinkpep.com. All right, back to Marjorie.
Funding and weapons given to Ukraine. And now Lindsey Graham seems to be the voice that, unfortunately, President Trump is listening to. Steve, I had an amendment go before the Rules Committee last night, and the Republicans on the Rules Committee voted against my amendment that would stop munitions being sent to Ukraine. And this is a vote that we should absolutely have on the House floor. And it was Republican.
Yeah, I won't do my whole Ukraine diatribe right now because I have done it many times, but I've never heard her go through and dispute the reasons that people like me lay out as to why it's not only in the interest of Ukrainians, which it obviously is and that's important, but in the interest of our national security, our geopolitical interests. And she never addresses it. She just does this super lazy, sloppy line of, I thought we were getting out of foreign wars. We're not in a foreign war. We're trying to prevent more war. The weaker Ukraine is, the less likely Russia is to stop. We did cover on the morning show, just to emphasize how this is affecting Russians. We're seeing bad signs for the Russian economy, which is kind of one of the main ways you're going to get Putin to stop, is putting enough economic pressure on him. So if Trump really goes forward with that, he could make a big difference, and I'm hoping that he will. But some Russian lady we covered on the morning show, make sure you're catching the morning show. If you go, even if you don't watch it live to the or it's on the homepage, the morning show, you'll see it and it's there. But you can also go to the live tab and see all of our live streams and watch it back whenever. We have lots of fun. But I played a clip of a citizen in Russia talking to a reporter and saying, things are getting so expensive, our economy is struggling, and it's all because of the war. The war is doing this. And I was getting hopeful, and then she goes, and that's why Zelensky needs to be taken out of power. Did you misspeak? No, not Vladimir. Come on. Not Vladimir. Vladimir. Come on. ma'am. And so they are feeling, unfortunately, just everyday citizens are feeling the economic impact, but that's the only path towards Putin feeling the pressure. And then here's another example of what Marjorie's saying, then we'll get to Ben Shapiro.
This is a departure from what we voted for, to see the president announce that he wants to sell American military weapons to NATO, and then NATO give these weapons to Ukraine. And there's some important things to talk about there, Alex. Number one, Ukraine is not a member of NATO. So there's no reason for NATO to be defending Ukraine.
There is European stability, European peace, European national security. Here, this headline that Alex Jones, he does this thing where instead of just showing like every normal human being ever with a show, a headline in a split screen from a computer, digitally, there's this digital thing. It's so crazy. You know, Trump told us how the greatest invention ever was TiVo, being able to TiVo stuff. This is like one of the craziest inventions ever too. You can show what's on your screen on the show. But instead he prints out articles and then he puts a camera on the printed out article. And the headline that he's pointing to with his finger is Russia warns of nuclear Armageddon after Trump's latest Ukraine move. Hey, you've shown those headlines for years. Someone explain to me in all of Putin's derangement how he would possibly justify in his own head nuclear Armageddon. You think even Putin wants to be in a nuclear war with us? It's just constant fear mongering about this. You can take it down. Speaking of nukes, by the way, just because I downplay, correctly so, their fear mongering doesn't mean that I'm not against nuclear war. I want to be clear. I'm against nuclear war. And because of that, and me referencing that Lukey says no nukie, we did put on the merch site, Jaden Design and Cole put it up there, shirts. So you can go to, it's actually linked right below the merch site, but lukebeasleymerch.com, and get yourself a Lukey Says No Nukie shirt. So everyone around you knows where you stand. Often these MAGAs will come out and say, unlike the liberals, I am against nuclear war. I am against a nuclear holocaust. Well, now we are going to bravely state that position. We're also against us all dying. So you can get that. Here's Ben Shapiro's response.
Marjorie Taylor Greene is now criticizing President Trump. She said, by now, the neocons and establishment Republicans have hijacked MAGA. President Trump should have some words for her, honestly. As a reminder, in September 2023, I forced the separate vote on the $300 million in the DoD approps for Ukraine. Here's the vote record results. Republicans, yay, 101 for funding to Ukraine, nay, 117 against funding to Ukraine. Democrats, the supposed anti-war party, yay, 210 for funding to Ukraine, nay, 0 against funding to Ukraine. Funding war in foreign countries is not what we voted for, and America still funds NATO. So if NATO is buying American weapons, we are still paying for it. Okay, first of all, we're not the only funders of NATO. This has been one of President Trump's big pushes, is to get the NATO countries to spend more of their GDP on national defense. So they are, in fact, going to pay us for those weapons. But beyond that, who the hell does she think that establishment Republicans have hijacked? Do you mean the president has hijacked the movement that he built, and of which you are an obscure member, Congresswoman? Is that what you mean there? I understand that your bizarre speculation about space lasers may make you think that you are the leader of the MAGA movement. I'm just wondering what...
I love when right-wingers finally get fed up with Marjorie and like a zillion years later go, what if I use the space lasers line? Great. It's evergreen, so I'm happy for you to use it. But it's funny how late to the game some of the people are. Did you see that like she pushed this Jewish space lasers conspiracy? Wild.
Hijacked the movement that he built, and of which you are an obscure member, Congresswoman? Is that what you mean there? I understand that your bizarre speculation about space lasers may make you think that you are the leader of the MAGA movement. I'm just wondering what evidence you have that is the case, particularly given the fact that Republicans now widely support the president's decisions on this particular matter. Echelon Insights poll came out yesterday. A new opinion poll on whether President Trump should send U.S. weapon system to Ukraine. Support, 65%. This is among Trump voters. Oppose, 22%. You're in the 22%. Congresswoman. So I'm wondering just what you mean has hijacked MAGA. This sort of obnoxious attempt to rewrite what MAGA is in favor of your own political priors is really sort of amazing.
Not as amazing as your eyebrows, though. Every time we cover him, I just have to say, I don't even know how you do that. Do you dye those? That is absolutely stunning. Stunning. And I appreciate you, speaking out against Marjorie on that. Yeah. Jewish space lasers. Loser. Thank you for that, Ben. And I did not know that poll. That's actually kind of hardening that even the Trump supporters, now that this shows you, because I think that number was a lot worse when Biden was in power, how knee-jerk the support is. Because Biden was supportive of Ukraine, they were not. And now that Trump is indicating he might be, now they're like, actually, you know what? Slava Ukraine. Share your thoughts in the comments.